prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstorats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to the Spring Equipment and Technology Clinic February 3rd through the 5th at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney. New this year, the planter and sprayer clinics are combined into one streamlined, hands-on event built around growers' time and needs. Get expert training on John Deere planters and sprayers on topics including maintenance, technology, and autonomy. Don't miss it. February 3rd through the 5th in Kearney. Visit landmarkimp.com/events for details.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
All right. Welcome back in. Chris Raff, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I heard you before. You just couldn't hear me. I thought everything was going. Everything was showing that when I'd speak, the little mic thing was moving and everything was going. So I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, beats me, man. I'm trying to get that on that stream with you for too many weeks now. And I don't want to make the people drag through technical difficulties. So I try to figure out what the audio is and me just humming, trying to say anything to keep the airwaves going. But no, we're back on the good old stream for now. And we'll see what that looks like down the road here. But nonetheless, I do got you in here for now. I missed what you said at the beginning, but I'll just say it now. Good to see you again, Raff. I listened a little bit last night. Sounded like everything went well.
Yeah, I was saying that, now that you're, this big time radio producer and, you're doing all these national shows and stuff like that, there's just not as much time for the little guys out there.
Yeah, no, I got to go on First Take so I can spew my propaganda on just the Cowboys and Lakers and, the Knicks, only the big market teams. No, not big time, not as much as I'd like to think. But we just got some extra help here. So on Mondays, if you guys were listening yesterday, shout out Nick Wyman. He did a good job. I will be here for the rest of weeknights, though, and including Fridays. I'll also be here on Friday nights. So that's really the only change there. Plenty of things to talk about, Chris Raff, on a Tuesday, January 20th. Husker football news. My poor Bears season came to an end, although it was an epic game. And we're looking at your Stidham's Broncos in the AFC. And then over in the NFC, you would have predicted it, but Rams and then Seahawks and Patriots and Broncos on the other side. Out of all the candy to pick from, where do you want to start?
I think we just got to go with the Bears first. I mean, that game, that throw that he had to get it to overtime, I mean, that is one of the most incredible throws that I've seen. Falling backwards and able to throw the ball as accurately as what he did. I mean, I just thought he was just throwing it up for grabs. And then, I put it right on Cole Kmet, pretty much right in stride. It was an amazing throw. But then the weird thing was a lot of fans were kind of faulting him on his last interception that he threw. But going back and watching it, I felt like it was on the receiver, not running the correct route, not cutting it off sooner. But that could just be me. But I don't know. What were your thoughts on that last interception? Was receiver route error, or do you put that on the quarterback?
A little bit of both. I mean, if you look at it, the way that zone was set up, there was such a big area right there in the middle. And if DJ Moore would have flattened out his route, it was wide open. And I think that's what Caleb Williams was trying to force him to flatten it out. He said in the press conference, he wanted DJ Moore to flatten out that route, and felt like he kind of threw it to force him to just flatten that thing out. I'm going to throw it, flatten it out, and go get it. If you do, you should be able to beat there. Now, the Rams player made a phenomenal defensive play, and you could still argue it wasn't maybe the most accurate of balls, but he had the right mindset. I mean, that was the hole in the defense to throw to. And, I know a lot of people are really upset with DJ Moore. He's been that guy for every single one of these games pretty much down the stretch. He obviously had the iconic moment versus the Packers. It definitely falls on him. I was just kind of surprised that he was not looking for the ball there. I mean, he's been that go-to guy. Like I said, I don't know if it was the most accurate, but if DJ Moore would have flattened that thing out earlier, it would have been a very easy, wide open throw, and just miscommunicated. They weren't on the same page there. I think Williams was right to see what he saw, and I think DJ Moore just wasn't quite on the same page.
So after that game, I mean, I know your thoughts, you're crushed because you're that close to getting to the NFC title game. But I mean, you've got to think maybe this year you're maybe a touch ahead of schedule a little bit, just from having a first-year head coach, second-year quarterback. I think if you're a Bears fan, I mean, I know it was heartbreaking way to lose, but you've got to feel, I mean, the future, I think, is super bright in Chicago or Indiana, wherever they end up playing their future games at. But I mean, from the outside looking in, I just saw the game. If anything, I think it just lights even more fires underneath the Chicago Bears, because I felt like maybe they were a year ahead of themselves this year of where they were almost at, but I could be wrong. I mean, I know you want to win every game that you play, but I think that all in all, when you look back on the season for Chicago, I think this is a heck of a springboard for them, into the future. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a long time to come.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was crushing. After that crazy throw by Caleb Williams, I was convinced. I was like, we're winning the Super Bowl. The Pope being from Chicago is real, because that throw, I don't care what anyone says. I know even, my Packers friends were like, all right, that's insane. Like, that throw right there was incredible. Now, you would have liked to win the game, but to your point, I mean, what a great first year. You won the NFC North. I don't know if that was expected. Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams was supposed to be like the fire and ice. They won't mix. Ben Johnson's too much of a in-system guy. Caleb Williams, just wants to run around, and he's not a system guy, which I will say the flack on Caleb Williams was insane to a point. A lot of people are saying he scrambles for no reason. If you actually watched him this year, significantly different from last year. Like, he would stay in the pocket. You can maybe argue a few times he'd scramble too early, but he was pretty good in there. And yeah, he would have a low completion percentage, but it's because he's throwing the ball away and at least not taking sacks. You want that number to go up, but great development, I thought, out of Caleb Williams in year two. Like I said, year one of Ben Johnson, that combination actually worked. Monungai, great running back that you stole in the 7th round. You got Colston Loveland, who everyone said, boy, you guys are idiots. You should have got Warren. I don't think anyone's saying that anymore. Like, you nailed your draft class. You nailed the Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams relationship. And there was something special going on this season, on top of a defense that nobody really wants to play. And if they keep that group together, especially in that secondary, they just got to shore up the defensive line a little bit. There was a lot of big steps forward this year, and I think it's a lot more ahead of schedule than me or anybody else would have anticipated that are Bears fans, unless some people really had a lot of hope in Ben Johnson. But no, I mean, it's a great year. That is a phenomenal year one. I think just because of the magicalness and how many times we're able to steal a game late, that you just felt like it was going to last forever. But that by far goes down as one of the most memorable seasons I've had in my entire life, watching Bears football. And that was just year one of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of an adventure. And then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're a Dolphins fan right now, what are you thinking? I'm just not sure that's the hire you make down in South Florida. I think the big thing about, being in Miami and around that region is it's such a mixing pot of different regions, and trying to get the interest for a pro sports team down there. It's always been a battle down there. I mean, even looking back at the Dan Marino years and stuff like that, it wasn't always a full house that he was playing in front of, at the old Orange Bowl. And when they moved to, Hard Rock, Joe Robbie Stadium, and now you make the hire that you did, I just don't think that is the splashy hire that you need to make right now if you're the Miami Dolphins franchise. And I'm not sure. I guess it caught me by surprise. I didn't really think that the Packers defense was good this year, but to warrant, him being promoted to a head coach, I was highly surprised by that hire.
Yeah. Jeff Hafley gets named the Dolphins head coach. And to your point, he was his last stop. He was the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Really good defense. Not the name I had on the list. I'd still go get a guy like Mike McCarthy if I really had to go find a new coach. I mean, he's still out there in the mix unless he doesn't want to do the job. But, maybe even Munkin. I don't think Flores would want to go back there. But there's some names that I would go to before Hafley. And anytime you have a defensive coordinator head coach, it's always a tough thing to do. But you kind of like it when your head coach is the offensive coordinator. And maybe people can disagree with me on it, but I think it's tough for head coaches to hold on to their OC if they are a defensive minded coach. And it feels like every few years that OC's name gets hot and then they become a new head coach somewhere else. When you are an offensive minded head coach, I think it's a lot easier to keep those DCs around. And if you do got to replace the defensive coordinator, it's not as bone breaking as having to find someone else to run your entire offense. So I'm not in love with the move. I'm also surprised they went down that route to go get a defensive guy as opposed to an offensive minded guy, but that's what they wanted, and they got him. I don't know if how much competition there was for Hafley, but he's found a spot in Miami.
And then you got the Chargers tonight, hiring their new offense coordinator, McDaniel, from Miami's former coach. That, the more I think about that is one heck of a combination that they're going to have, or not San Diego, sorry, Los Angeles Chargers. I was
going to correct you. We can call them the San Diego Chargers.
I still live in the 80s in the old NFL helmet lunchbox. I think that's right. Right, picture the helmets. But you have the mixture now. You have Jim Harbaugh, who, is wearing his cleats on the sidelines, wearing his khaki pants, wearing his whistle around his neck. And then you're going to have Mike McDaniel with his, I don't even know what they call those sweatpants where they cut before your ankle. They don't go all the way down. And his outfit attire, it's going to be quite the mix. And then it was really weird to me too, is I thought McDaniel was more of kind of a wide open kind of West Coasty type offense. And I thought that Harbaugh was more, power football, or wanted to establish power football. But I think now Harbaugh came to the conclusion that they're going to put it a lot, on the arm of Justin Herbert, which I don't think that's the wrong thing. I think he's a very talented quarterback, but just that mix, it kind of caught me off guard.
It's a fascinating mix. I love the hire. I don't think McDaniel was as bad as maybe some people thought. Now, I think you fire him because you kind of get to a point where he's lost the locker room. With the Tua combination and McDaniel, that place was just tough. I think McDaniel might be happy just to go ahead and get out of that building. But I can understand why you move on from him, just to get a different voice, because clearly that culture is just lost. And I don't know how many of those guys truly believed in it anymore. But for the Chargers, to me, that's a home run. Yeah, he's a great offensive mind. We saw what it looked like when his team was healthy. And for the Chargers, I don't think they're that far away. Again, like that offensive line was beat up. You're going with backup left tackle and a backup right tackle. You're going to have problems protecting Justin Herbert. Once those guys get healthy, I really don't think they're as far off as maybe some of these results in these playoffs have shown. And now you bring in who I think he is a really good offensive mind. I like it. And then you put that with Harbaugh. I mean, that's going back to fire and ice. Those two working together, that could turn out to be something beautiful.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting just to see him working with a quarterback that's got a big arm. I mean, he was hamstrung in Miami. I mean, people can say what they want about Tua,
He had a
but
short spell.
his arm strength had been, not what it used to be. I think Alabama, I think he had a strong arm, but it just looked like he was just really laboring to get the ball, anything, 25, 30 yards downfield. It just looked like he was laboring just to get it there. And now you're going to go to Herbert, who, 30 yards for him is pretty much a drop in the bucket. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the way his offense will expand, having a quarterback with that type of arm talent.
Certainly open up the playbook. I mean, that was before obviously all the CTEs and everything. But yeah, I don't know what that was with Tua. At Alabama, it looked like he had a cannon. And for something in the NFL, like you just never saw that as much. He had the 1 year, but if you really go back and look at it, it was Tyreek Hill and Waddle getting so many yak yards. I mean, they had some deep throws, but a lot of it was, they throw it pretty early, but Tyreek Hill's already got a couple steps on the guy, 20 yards down the field. So all he needed to throw was about 25 yards, and he's good, and he'll run the rest of it all the way through the end zone. But yeah, just fascinating. I think this is a awesome move for McDaniel and the Chargers. I'm not going to say hate it. I'm surprised that this is the direction the Dolphins went, because you got to think they dragged their feet forever on firing or keeping McDaniel.
Yeah.
When you fired him, it's like, okay, they must got a guy that they really want. Unless this is the guy, I'm kind of surprised it wasn't a bigger name.
Well, I thought McDermott was going to be postmarked to go to Miami. I thought that was just waiting to happen. You have McDermott, go down to Miami, playing in the same division as the Bills, chip on his shoulder. I thought McDermott was kind of the guy would be pegged to go to Miami, but the Hafley hire, I was just kind of caught me off guard. So now I'm not sure where you set up now, and where I gotta believe McDermott lands somewhere. I mean, that his coaching record over the last 6-7 years is I think that the least games he won was like 10 games in his coaching career at Buffalo. I think it was 98-50. So I got to think that a job for him is on the horizon.
Cardinals pick him up, I think. If I had to take a guess right now, surprised the Cardinals haven't done much quite yet. Because that's an organization that's, again, it's not horrible. Have the Falcons hired a head coach yet? Am I blanking? They get Stefanski?
Yes, they did. Him and Baker Mayfield. Well, I guess he hasn't responded to Baker Mayfield yet, but they got Stefanski. They hired a former Nebraska head coach as their offensive line coach. Bill Callahan is the new offensive line coach for the Falcons. But some guy came up and said something about how Stefanski failed with the quarterbacks he had in Cleveland or whatever, or the quarterbacks were failures. And Baker Mayfield replied back to him and said, "Failures, they sent me away like a piece of garbage, and I still haven't got a message or a call or anything from Stefanski." So those games are going to be some good games between Tampa Bay and Atlanta, because there is definitely an upset Baker Mayfield. So it should be interesting football out of that division.
Yeah, now everything I said about Hafley, about not sure on that hire, take that times 100 for Stefanski and the Falcons. Yuck. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you like the hire?
Man, I don't know. It's so hard with Cleveland, but I guess he was a part of that. But the management in Cleveland was so messed up to me. It's like you had, they went into like training camp last year. It was like 6 quarterbacks. It was like, what is going on here? What is the management trying to do? Are they, is Shedeur their guy? Is Gabriel? Deshaun's still under I mean, the ownership, the management there is just such a mess. So it'll be interesting to see if Stefanski's able to, turn things around. It looks like, and I think you're going to see, all the coaching positions be filled here in the next week. I think probably Flores will probably go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because Tomlin said that he's going to take the year off regardless. So he's not going anywhere.
So Flores, I think, ends up in Pittsburgh. I would think McDermott, like you said, you got to believe he lands somewhere. It's crazy. The whole thing is if I'm the Jets, I'm thinking about making a move. I go for McDermott. I'm just not sold on Aaron Glenn as a head coach. I saw things this year that I was just head scratching. Like he was the defensive, quote unquote mastermind in Detroit. And your defensive backfield does not have one interception the entire year. I mean, that's just stuff like that's just it makes me scratch my head. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Glenn this upcoming year, because I got to believe that he's got to do something above average for the Jets to keep him, because I think the Jets are going to have that, itchy trigger finger to let him go if things don't start to, improve there in New York.
Yeah, that is concerning, with the. Oh, wow. That's a feat. All right, Raff. I didn't know that. I knew it was an impressive stat, but in the bad kind of way. How many teams in NFL history have finished a season with 0 interceptions?
I'm gonna go with one. The Jets. I don't know.
That was the only time in NFL history that happened.
Yeah, that's incredible. And being that, we talked about hiring a defensive-minded head coach, you think that would be the one thing that would have improved with the Jets this year would have been their defensive back. Being that Aaron Glenn played defensive back in the NFL for so many years, you would have thought that would be. You always kind of look at the coach and what their strength is, and you think that would be the one thing that would be improved with the team that they went to, but that did not come to fruition. I can't say that much with the Jets actually really came, really improved this year. I think they were, a train wreck for pretty much the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, 0 interceptions is insane. That's harder to do than getting 1 interception to get 0 on the year. And it was, it's sure they had some, but also just criminally out of position all year. And they were getting burned in every game on passing.
And how does this draft shape up? I would think Fernando Mendoza goes to the Raiders. I would think. I mean, I'm not 100% sold on him being the number 1 pick. I thought Miami made him look very, normal last night. I mean, he had the big play when it counted. So I mean, there's points there. So I'll be curious to see, I guess the Raiders go number 1 Mendoza. And then after that, I don't know where the Jets look. I'm not even sure if Dante Moore would have came out, if they would have made him the number 2 pick or not. So I'm not sure if you're the Jets, I don't even know where you're turning to right now. Maybe you looking at trading and maybe putting all your eggs in the basket and maybe make a run for that quarterback, making that run for a quarterback down in Texas, Mr. Arch Manning, possibly. I don't know what the Jets do. It's because there's really, I guess, like I said, Mendoza number 1, but after that, it's kind of like a free for all, especially at the quarterback position this year, because I don't know really any of the quarterbacks that are coming out this year that really impressed me as a top, 10, top 15 draft pick. Mendoza is probably the only guy that, raises my eyebrows a little bit, but it's a very, not a strong quarterback class coming out this year.
Yeah, and I've said this before. I will walk it back with Mendoza, though, because just how awesome he looked throughout the playoff run. I think that's fair. Raiders definitely go get him. In the past, they said maybe you trade down. I think he definitely showed enough to where, again, it's hard to ever nail it and really be confident that this is the future of your organization. But I think he's shown plenty that you have to take the swing on it. For everybody else, if I'm the Jets, trade down. Just trade down. Get as many picks as possible. It's one of the things in the NFL that it blows my mind. I mean, we can talk about the organizations that have been bad for a long time. The Browns, the Jets, the Lions, and up until, a few years ago, the Dolphins are in a tough spot right now. There's multiple teams, Raiders, obviously, since they're number 1, that every single year they have horrible results. And every single year they're getting up there, high draft picks. And they never trade down. They just keep taking the best guy there, and they try to get a home run after home run, and they end up just whiffing a lot. Trade back, load up on picks, and let your team get better over time, and kind of let that stuff. I mean, you do it a little bit how the OKC Thunder did it. We're just load up on picks. You're going to eventually get a bunch of guys on cheap contracts, and then you're in a really good spot where you can kind of pick and choose who you're keeping, who you're letting go. And then you have all that draft capital. You got a bunch of really good young players that a lot of other teams can maybe see in spots. It blows my mind that I would just be a trade down fool if I was a GM in the NFL, but that's kind of the problem is these GMs get 3 years to win. It's 3.5 years, I think, is the average lifespan. So that's, I guess, part of why you see that. But yeah, I mean, if I'm the Raiders, give me Mendoza. If I'm anybody else, if I'm the Jets, I'm just going to trade down. My team is so bad. Me getting a new quarterback is not going to fix this team.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And then, staying in that division, The Bills. I mean, the rumors out at Buffalo are that possibly Brian Daboll returns back to be the head coach. He was the offense coordinator for Josh Allen there for several years before he took over the New York Giants. And that firing still surprises me. Like I said, the record McDermott's put up, but like I said, he wasn't able to, get over that hump in the playoffs. But now, if they turn back to the Daboll, I that kind of surprises me a little bit also. But then looking at it, it's like there's not really a ton of splash names out there, to hire at this time. So I would guess maybe Daboll ends up in Buffalo, or maybe they promote Brady. But I have to think if they're looking at Daboll, Brady's days are probably numbered as the offense coordinator in Buffalo. So it's interesting times there in Buffalo for sure.
Yeah, what do you think had the biggest surprise out of all the teams in the playoffs so far? And it could be on the negative spectrum or on the positive spectrum. I really thought the Bills were going to do it this year. I thought they'd finally find a way, and I'm just kind of blown away that the Broncos stuffed them again. The Bills window is the most alarming to me out of all this. Like the Bears run was incredible. I don't think anyone's all surprised by the Seahawks, although maybe the Vikings are. Maybe keep your guy who put up a historically great season, but they don't. They move on, and they didn't even make the playoffs this year. And now he's set to go play in the NFC Championship game. Rams, not surprised. That's probably your MVP right there. And then the Patriots, a little bit surprised. But, I mean, after that first game in the playoffs, I think they kind of told everyone that they belong.
Yeah, no, the thing about like with the Buffalo Broncos game was I wasn't like, you never, can guarantee that, the Broncos were going to win, but my thought was I knew the Broncos would play good because home field advantage in the playoffs is such a huge thing. And it really helps. And then I was looking, at the Bills receivers and I was like, okay, well, you got Surtain. So he's going to, pretty much put the, whoever they decide the number one receiver, which you're really not sure with the Bills. So I thought, he would put the clamps on whoever he had. And I don't even think you heard Surtain's name mentioned once the entire game.
Nope.
So that eliminates one guy. And then, Riley Moss has been playing, fairly decent, since the early season. You haven't heard his name mentioned a ton. So I was like, if Denver can, shut down the receivers, and then it's just going to come down to, how well they contain Josh Allen. And for the most part, they did a fairly decent job. He got loose a few times. However, Nick Podino, chased him down, 15 yards downfield and caused the fumble. So I guess I was looking at it was more Josh Allen versus the Broncos. Other than, I felt like it as bad as this sounds or good as it sounds or however you want to take this, but Josh Allen reminds me so much of John Elway in the 80s. Like it was like,
of course,
it was like John Elway versus the other team. I know there was 21 other guys or, 10 other guys out on the field on offense and 21 other guys that were out on the field. But it just always felt like, it was just, and you just feel like Josh Allen is that one man gang. I mean, I think you saw it with the Chiefs a little bit at the end of the year. Take away Patrick Mahomes, take away Josh Allen. What are the Chiefs? What are Buffalo? I mean, it's pretty much, both teams are basically, they're below average teams. I mean, if you took Josh Allen away from the Bills, I mean, I don't even think they're not even close to a 500 football team. Not even close. And
I felt worse about them. The Chiefs at least got Andy Reid, and he's got a little bit of that Mike Tomlin energy where I think he can patch together a good team. They wouldn't be, the Super Bowl contenders, Chiefs, without Mahomes, but with Andy Reid, at least that's a 1-2 punt. And to be honest, I think that's why the Chiefs have gotten the better of the Bills. Yeah. If you think, Mahomes and Allen are even, I think the Chiefs coaching staff beats the Bills every single year. And that was, maybe not this year, but in years prior, that's kind of what's come down to is we coach a little bit better. We have a little bit better of a game plan. And they're able to help Mahomes a little bit more. This year, they didn't. And I think that's why you see them struggle so much. And they're kind of on the end of some of these guys like Kelsey. But, that's where, if you're the Bills, I think you got to start spending the money. Go get a wide receiver. They did that with Diggs. And I know I've talked about this before, but I think it's kind of crucial is they get to these big time contracts with these receivers and they never pay them. They're okay letting them go walk out the door and trying to get a better deal somewhere else. And if they do, they say goodbye and part ways. But it's kind of hard to watch this over and over again and feel like if you give Josh Allen, a guy that he knows he can rely on, especially for him, who's, probably one of the better ones out there when he's putting those 50-50 balls in the air, you got to give him a dude that he can lean on, and it's what made Rams and Adams so great. Like, they see a guy in Devontae Adams, let's go bring him in here on top of a guy like Puka Nacua who will shred any zone you put in front of him. Like, he's got weapons consistently to throw to. I mean, Josh Allen just doesn't. And then they got a good running back, and they're good on special teams and they're good on defense, but they're not really elite anywhere except for their quarterback.
Yep. No. And I feel like too with James Cook, I felt like they went away from him. I know that, Denver got the lead on him, scoring the 10 and answered, going into halftime, but it felt like, towards the end of that game, when they took the lead, it felt like they could have went more to James Cook, because James Cook was gashing the Broncos. He had some big runs. He also had a big fumble, but James Cook was, I was fearing that the most. I was like, oh, don't run the ball a ton. And, they kept on throwing it, which, kind of played into Denver's hands a little bit. I always say, if you can make a team one-dimensional, your chances of winning go up exponentially. And it just felt like when it got to that point where Denver was able to, to pin their ears back and really go after them, that's when, trouble was abounded. But then also, I mean, Josh Allen can look back too, and he missed some throws. And I mean, there were the Merkel Hardman, the ball that he threw low probably should have been caught, where he kind of kicked it off his knee there late in the game. So there's a lot of things, but it's at the end of the day, I guess I laugh a little bit with the Bills fans just for the fact that they're making it out to be like the referees costed them that game. But it's like they forget about, the other calls that went against it, like, or the non-calls. For instance, the holding in the end zone would have been a safety. We'd still have our quarterback. And then there was also the play where Dawson Knox was open, where Josh Allen overthrew him. Jonathan Cooper was getting held on the edge, which would have backed that game tying field goal up back to 60 yards. And that would have been a huge difference in that game. So I know the Bills, have some complaints, which I think some of them are false, but that's just me. But yeah, it was, another year. But like I said, in the game too, with Josh Allen, it's like, if I wasn't a huge Broncos fan, I would take Josh Allen on my team any day of the week. Just, his competitive spirit and just that emotion that he showed on the podium, after the game. It's like, it stinks for him, but man, seeing just how much he puts in the game, that if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, man, that made me sad, because then they went up to his teammates and they're like, hey, Josh Allen said that's on him. And they're like, man, he said that. And they're like super sad that Josh Allen was even thinking that was on him. And I'm like, oh, at least that team really gets along and everything. But I think you're right. I mean, it was kind of, can you stop Josh Allen if yes, you win? And they got to, if that is their guy, I think you got to go spend the money. Go get yourself a really, really good wide receiver. Go get Christian Kirk. I'm not saying you have to go spend the top money, but go get a guy that's proven it. Because that's, to me, just the one element that's always missing. You go look at those Chiefs years, even if it wasn't Tyreek Hill, it was Travis Kelce. Like, Mahomes always had a guy to go to, and it often came up major in those playoff matchups whenever they'd have to face each other. That being said, how are you feeling about your Broncos? The Bo Nix situation is crazy. Are you feeling like they can pull this off, and maybe we get like a little bit of a Nick Foles Super Bowl where the backup saves the day?
I go into this game when it first happened and you first heard about it, it just felt like a kick in the gut, and it was more for just the fact of Bo Nix, being the quarterback the entire season, and getting the victory and having a chance to play to get to his first Super Bowl. So you're just disappointed for him, being that it's just finished. Like, here you've won the game. I mean, it doesn't happen that often where a quarterback gets injured, wins the game, and then it's like, and then you're done. And then, then going back and thinking about it, it's like Jared Stidham. He's been in the Broncos, system for 3 years. Actually, he's been in it a year longer than Bo Nix. He's had some experience, but it goes against him a lot is the game speed. He hasn't had the feel of any real game speed he had one kneel down, and that's it. So it's just from practice to game speed, how much that changes and how quickly he can adjust to that. But once again, I think being at home, that, the crowd and, the Denver defense, they're going to have to, try and confuse and trying to really get the hits on Drake May. I think that's the key. If they can get a lot of pressure on him and just continue to, rough him up a little bit, I think that'll be huge for Denver. But like I said, it's just going to be the game speed. I'm not worried about a game plan or play calling or anything like that. I think everything will be pretty much very similar to a Bo Nix because their skill sets are very similar. I would say that probably Stidham's got a little bit stronger arm than Bo Nix. Bo Nix probably is a little bit more mobile. So it'll be interesting to see, how it all shakes out and just how he adjusts to real game speed. So yeah, it's not what we expected, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens.
I know people are buying into it. This one, NFL article from Joseph Zucker. Is Jarrett Stidham an upgrade of Bo Nix? NFL execs hype Broncos QB1 after Nick's shocking injury. So they're selling it right now. Like, he's actually better than Bo Nix, which I was going to kick out of it. But, he'll get the chance to prove it, I guess.
Well, what's funny about that is if you recall, like, being a big Bronco fan, it's like I remember all this stuff. In preseason, Jarrett Stidham was hot. Like, I'm talking,
he wanted the job.
He had a hot hand. And there was murmurs in Denver like, hey, is Bo Nix that guy? And, but Sean Payton, he's made it, pretty clear from the get-go that Bo Nix has been his guy since he started watching him on tape. He's wanted Bo Nix to be the quarterback to run his offense. But he's never wavered in any way, shape, or form to say that, Jarrett Stidham could start, with several other teams in the NFL, which looking at the season this year, there's probably, 4, 5, 6 teams. He could walk into the Jets, probably be the starting franchise quarterback. No doubt about it. So he's got that ability within him. It's just the fact, like I said, it's just that game speed. Things amp up when the game starts. And that's, how well he adjusts to that or how he gets reacclimated, I guess, so to say, to that game speed. That'll be the most important thing for Denver's offense.
Yeah, I'm surprisingly optimistic on it. I think he's good. Like, I think he's solid. It shows why it pays off to have a backup quarterback that you actually trust. But I think Stidham's one of the better backups. We'll find out, if that's true or not. But he's up there like with, Willis. If Jordan Love went down, you feel pretty good. Or I'm blanking on other good backup QBs. Like, even if Williams went down, if Tyson Bagent went in the game, I think Bagent's shown really good stuff. Obviously, preseason, most people look good, but he's done that for a few years, and he's got good control of the offense at the very least. I'm excited for it. And I know he's the competitor. No better way to show your worth than, hey, we've got the AFC Championship game coming up. You're starting.
Well, look at this. I mean, you're basically 2 games away from being one of the most beloved Broncos of all time. You probably are going to go sign a huge contract with another team after the season, kind of that Nick Foles type thing to where, after he won the Super Bowl with the Eagles and they came, other teams came a call and offered him a ton of money. So, I mean, these next 2 games for Stidham, they're not only for the Broncos, but they're huge for him personally. I mean, this could be life-changing for him.
Yeah. I mean, talk about the pressure. He can completely alter the future of his career with these 2 games. He can absolutely tank his stock, or he can take it to a level that was never even possible on the backs of, what this team has been able to do. And of course, Bo Nix is a big part of it and how great he's been. But you're the guy that's left. What can you do with what's remaining? It's your point. It's 2 games.
Yeah. And he spoke about how he wants to be a starter in the NFL. Well, I guarantee you, if Bo Nix stays healthy, and next year rolls around, do you think there's any murmur at all that, hey, maybe we should go look at Jarrett Stidham and be our starting quarterback? But now he has a good performance on Sunday and say, Denver's able to pull out a victory and they make it to the Super Bowl and he has another good performance in the Super Bowl. You went from having no talk about you to probably having 5 or 6 teams talking about, hey, we need to bring him in and make him our quarterback. So, I mean, it's gigantic, 2 gigantic games for him.
Well said. Anything left for the playoff picture or your Denver Broncos in particular before we throw it to break and get to Raff's good take?
I'm all good.
The Broncos, I will say this. There's a lot of people picking Broncos. Like, surprisingly. Are you, like, I don't know if you can cut the bias out, but if you cut the bias out, are you confident that the Broncos can pull this off with Stidham?
Oh, what I am, like I said, I'm confident because they're at home. I'm confident in the defense. It's just how he adjusts. Like, I think he has the talent to pull it out, but it's just how does that game speed? I mean, it's like when you've sat out a year, you're a little rusty, and technically he hasn't really played any serious football in 2 years, because remember, Bo Nix was the quarterback the entire year last year. So in 2 years, he hasn't seen a ton of live action other than preseason. And we all know how vanilla defenses are in the preseason. So it's just how quickly he can reacclimate himself, And so I've used reacclimate a ton, but that's the whole key to this game, because if he's able to adjust, I think Denver has just as good a chance of winning that game as the Patriots. And like I said, I can't stress enough, being at home field, that is huge. That's why they play, to get that first week bye and that home field advantage.
Well, I will be rooting for the Broncos from here on out, Raff. My team's out. I'll hop on that bandwagon. Because Patriots, come on, they don't deserve to be back already. And the Rams, you guys got one not too long ago. Seahawks, maybe. I don't know why Seahawks just don't do anything for me. But the Broncos, the NFL seems to be a little bit nicer when the Broncos are good. And if they can pull up the Super Bowl, for me personally, I think that's my favorite outcome of everything that's left. All right, don't go anywhere. We do got Raff's good take just on life in general on the other side of things right here. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Talk to you guys in a bit.
Every winter, I struggle with feeling sluggish and down. I've read about the benefits of red light systems, but trying the Spectrum 7 at MaxTan has become my bright spot. A few sessions of full-body red light, and I'm more energized and centered. It's my go-to winter boost, MaxTan.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement. Back Nine Golf in South Lincoln is the premier indoor golf experience in the state. The weather in the winter months is cold, windy, and as unpredictable as a tee shot on the 450-yard par 4. With top-of-the-line full-swing simulators and a PGA teaching professional, Back Nine Golf is there to help you improve your game and lower your score. Back Nine Golf is open to the public with 24/7 access for members. Learn about Back Nine's variety of memberships today and see the facility for yourself at 7501 South 15th Street in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Back Nine Golf, your premier indoor golf and events destination.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Hi, Sean Callahan here with Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G16518. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Back to Raff's Good Take on Sports on 93.7 The Ticket. With all the good takes you need, here is your host, Chris Raff.
Welcome back, 93.7 The Ticket. Chris Raff streaming in. Per usual, thought you were going to be in Lincoln this week.
I am. Thursday night. Prepare yourself.
Oh boy. Okay.
Hey, I got one thing before I get to RGT. I just got to say one thing. They elected Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame today.
Yes.
And congratulations to them. But I have one issue with the Hall of Fame voters. How in the world did Alex Gordon only get one single vote? I mean, I knew he wasn't going to be a Hall of Fame in the Hall of Fame, but I thought maybe he would get maybe 25% of the vote, 20% of the vote, just something. I mean, he is a Royals Hall of Famer. He has, what do you have, 9 Golden Gloves, 2 or 3 time best glove in the league, World Series ring, one of the most clutch hits that you'll ever, home runs that you'll ever see. I thought, he would garner some votes, but to get one single vote, I was like, come on now.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. I thought he'd get more. I don't like to act like I'm the biggest baseball guy, so I was like, maybe I'm missing something. Apparently not, because we're on the same page. So, yeah, he gets just a fraction, the smallest of fractions of the vote.
One vote. I was like, come on now. I mean, I had no, inclination at all that he'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I thought, they'd kick him, maybe like 20% of the vote just for the player that he was. I mean, he was you get in the Royals Hall of Fame. That's saying you're one of the best players in the organization's history. And you're saying that one of the best players in the Royals organization history is one vote for the Hall of Fame. I'm like, that guy did it right. I mean, he played the game the way it was supposed to be played. I mean, that right there, that should have got you at least 10% of the vote, I think. But yeah, that kind of caught me surprised. But then again, Dale Murphy and players like that are still waiting to be get the call. Don Mattingly. So I guess baseball writers and football writers are a lot alike sometimes.
Two alike, some might argue. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too. I'm sure that one vote was like the Royals media.
Yeah.
And he was like, really? All right. I guess I'm that biased, but no, I don't think he was. I think whoever that vote was, I'm a little bit surprised by myself. All right, Raff, a few minutes left. What do you got? What's a good take? People need it. It's getting cold here in Nebraska. The spirits are down.
All right, everybody. Today's Raff's Good Take goes out to the Nebraska cheerleading squad. After almost 25 years, they returned back to, I believe it was Disney World Orlando, and competed in the UCA cheerleading championships. So I just wanted to congratulate them for finally making it back onto the nationals mat. It's just always cool to see, Nebraska included with all the names of college cheerleading. So big congratulations to the Nebraska cheerleading squad. You guys are Raff's Good Take.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. They do a lot of hard work. We had Ashley Mitchell. She used to be a former cheerleader. She's got a show here, and she talks about it. That's brutal. I mean, it's like 2 days, and then the cuts.
Yeah.
Like just for reference, like say there's 100 people. Raff, you probably know this well, but there's 100 people, and like every day they cut people. Sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's like 50. Like you have no idea, and you're just trying to get through camp. But it's like every day, it's like, damn, there goes Rebecca, there goes Bethany. Like I hope I'm not listed. It's like, oh, they only named 2 today. I think I'm gonna get the spot. And then tomorrow comes around, they drop 20 of us. Oh boy, it's like they got to put in a lot of work. And so it's good shout out to those guys for traveling. It's a lot of hard work, and it's nice to have those shows because we had a couple of the male cheerleaders on too, and it's people got their stereotypes, and hearing those two, it's like, man, I should have done cheer. I don't know if I was strong enough, but how it happened for those guys, some girls walked up to him, said like, hey, you guys look strong, you want to do cheer? And they're like, that doesn't sound bad. I get to all the games for free. It's hard work, but get a scholarship. So shout out to those guys. It's a cool thing to do, and they don't always get noticed. But Raff, you're absolutely right for giving them their flowers. Appreciate everybody listening, though. This has been Raff's Good Take on Sports. 93.7 The Ticket. That is Chris Raff, Harrison Arns. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow.